Hello, I'm Senator Antonio Hayes, representing the 40th Legislative District of Baltimore City, also serving on the Senate Finance Committee in the Maryland State Senate. Welcome to Westside on the Rise, our monthly series um, highlighting the importance of supporting small businesses and entrepreneurship. I am delighted to be joined by my co-host for this very special segment, that is Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams, welcome and look forward to getting this show on the road.
Yeah, good afternoon, Senator Hayes. I'm glad to be with you and so excited about this inaugural event webinar, Westside on the Rise. I'm looking forward to all of the many sessions that we'll have and the important information we'll have for the community and the progress that we'll be able to communicate about what's happening on the West Side. So I'm very excited about this and looking forward to the journey.
Absolutely. No, I think this is really exciting, and I'm so grateful to Coppin State University, a leader and anchor institution in our community, for taking on this project and for your leadership and seeing it through. We have a very special guest today that I'm looking forward to hearing from, as well as I know you are. You've spoken very highly of our invited guests, and so I'm looking forward to having a conversation with our special guest.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that I've had a great interest in, especially in my legislative careers, how do we build wealth in communities of color, especially Black communities, right? And I think what you all are doing at Coppin with the business school and the Strategic Entrepreneur Center is remarkable, and it's definitely putting us on a path here in Baltimore to make sure that we ensure and grow Black wealth. And so hopefully throughout this webinar series, we'll have an opportunity to highlight some of those things as they come about.
Yeah, I think it's really important. We mentioned our special guest this afternoon, but this, just to put it in context, in terms of Coppin State University, HBCU in the heart of West Baltimore, on the west side of town. To put it in context, I first want to acknowledge our leadership, President Anthony Jenkins, who started with us a year ago. And so his first year in his tenure as president was in the pandemic, but he has done a fine job. I want to acknowledge his leadership. Also, you know, the entire leadership team at Coppin, the hard work that they've been doing over the course of this year. And we have part of that leadership team with us today, and that's Dr. Sadie R. Gregory, who is Dean of the College of Business at Coppin. And that really helps to will help us put the institution and the contributions that the institution makes to the local and the regional economy, state economy, and to the economic development on the West Side. So I'm very excited about this inaugural webinar, the exciting things that are happening at Coppin State University as an anchor institution on the West Side, and the particular contribution that the College of Business will make in terms of economic development, and really what HBCUs have done historically. We have been a conduit, a pathway to socioeconomic advancement. And now what was a teacher's college is really on the forefront of where we're headed economically, and will lead that charge as well. So it is, you know, maybe you can give some information about the remaining of the format, and then I'll make an introduction to our guests and we'll launch into the rest of the program.
Absolutely. And so hopefully through this webinar, we hope to better inform the members of the public and those of you who are watching from wherever you're watching on the progress that we're making here in West Baltimore. You know, I grew up in West Baltimore in a little neighborhood called Penn North, and talking to my great aunts and other elders in the community, I hear about the successful business that took place in commerce that transpired up and down the North Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. Coppin State University being a big anchor, I think is the right institution to partner with and seeing that resurgence or that re-imaging come back to West Baltimore. So today we will hear from one of the great leaders at Coppin State University. Dr. Williams will introduce our special guest. We'll exchange some questions and answers, and then we will solicit feedback from those of you at home or in the audience that are watching us here today. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it back to my co-host, the very capable and conquerable Dr. Williams, to introduce our special guest.
Thank you, Senator. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sadie R. Gregory, who is the Dean of the College of Business at Coppin State University. And I could do this without any notes because Dr. Gregory has been in leadership at Coppin. It's been about 17 or 18 years. Dr. Gregory has been with us, and she has served in a number of seats with the institution, which gives her really a comprehensive look at the academic institution and what's happening in West Baltimore. She has been the interim president of the institution. She has served as provost of the institution, and now she's leading the business school into this next leg. And she brings a couple of decades of history at Coppin, but she's also bringing corporate experience. She is an economist by training. She's a PhD in economics. So she understands economic development. But with all of that wealth of knowledge and experience and insight into what's happening in West Baltimore, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Sadie R. Gregory to the inaugural webinar, Westside on the Rise webinar. So Dr. Gregory, welcome.
Hello, and thank you, Dr. Williams. It is my pleasure to be here today. Dr. Williams mentioned that I've been at Coppin, actually it's been 17 years. And when I came in 2004, I was brought on board as the provost and vice president for academic affairs. And the one thing that I remember when coming on board is I saw Coppin, a small school in terms of campus, in terms of size, in terms of enrollment, but a very impactful institution. And I think that was true in 2004, and I think it's even more relevant today. And when you talk about my experience at Coppin and serving in a number of positions, that has served me well. It has really it's been a real educational experience for me, because what I've learned at each and every level is that I've learned about Coppin. I've learned how to interact with the various members of the Coppin community, the internal and external stakeholders. And as a result, I think I'm in a better position today to serve Coppin and its mission.
Well, we are absolutely excited to have you at the leadership of the business school at this particular time, because it's an important time not only for Coppin as an institution, but for Baltimore as a city, and really nationally with what we see happening on the national stage politically and economically and otherwise. But can you say just a bit, you have been at Coppin almost a couple of decades, and you mentioned impact. Can you say a little bit more about what you believe Coppin as an academic institution on the West Side and the business school in particular, what it has meant to the community, the people of Baltimore City, the state, and the region? What impact do you believe we have as an HBCU in West Baltimore?
Absolutely. I heard you mention earlier, Dr. Williams, that Coppin was a teacher's college. And you're exactly right. That's what put Coppin on the map initially. It was known for its strong teacher education program, but there were also a complement of other programs designed to prepare students for public service. So we produced law enforcement persons, social workers, counselors, nurses. So that was a real good foundation for us as an institution, but it was vital to our community. It was vital then, and it still is very, very critical to the success in moving the community forward. Along those lines, though, you notice that a number of things have changed. We still have that strong public service component, but Coppin has grown a lot over the years. We've actually moved from being a college to being a university. And along with that growth, what have we seen? We've moved from offering primarily undergraduate degrees to now we offer bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and yes, even a doctorate degree program in the nursing area. So we've grown in terms of academic programs. We've seen a lot of innovative research done. We have a strong STEM emphasis now where we have scientists who are making a difference globally. They're doing very important research and they are connecting with colleagues all over the country. We also have the introduction of a lot of new and innovative programs. And so even though Coppin, when you look at the campus, it's a small community, it's even more impactful today than ever. We are doing things internally in terms of building stronger and better academic programs. We are connecting differently. We're reaching out to our community. A lot of engagement with not only the local community, but the business community, the public health area, you name it. So Coppin is making a difference.
Let me invite the senator in to ask any follow-up questions that you may have on any of this, because I know that your wheels are turning as you,
Yes,
as
indeed,
you hear
indeed.
some of this. So feel free to jump in at any time if any follow-up questions for Dr. Gregory.
Absolutely. And first, Dr. Gregory, I just want to say welcome. It's an honor to have this time to spend with you and talk about, Coppin and your history there, as well as the history of the institution, which I find always fascinating in its contributions. Right now, we're in an incredible moment in our nation and in the transformation of our city with political divide, social unrest, emerging realities. How does that influence what you or the institution do academically? And how does the College of Business fit into the current political, social, economic landscape here in Baltimore?
Well, Coppin has always had a part of its mission to serve the community. So that's not new. Under our new president and the administrative leadership team, we've become really active in terms of stepping out into that community. How are we doing so? We're doing so through not only continuing to grow inside, but it's these partnerships that we're building. It's the relationship that we have. Something as simple as the conversation we're having today is getting the word out in terms of who Coppin is and some of the things that we're doing. And when you look at Coppin, I want to just mention a few of the changes that will enable us to do even more with our outreach effort. When I talk about new academic programs, the university is really expanding. We are having not only, I mentioned about the bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree, but we're also introducing a number of certificate programs to reach out to those persons who may not be interested in committing to a full degree program. So we're offering certificate programs. We're building out facilities. Our facilities have grown, not only in terms of having new buildings or new facilities in place, but highly functional space that will support teaching and learning, of course, is primary, but also a space that's going to support the other prongs of Coppin's mission, the research and service component. So we're seeing these pieces develop as well. We're enhancing a lot of our student support. Coppin, as I'm sure you already know, has an incredible technology infrastructure that even during the pandemic, we were able to pivot, not miss a beat. We continued with all of our classes, we continued with administrative work, we had meetings. So we have the infrastructure in place and we're continuously building our program to support it. So with that said, I have no doubt in my mind that Coppin is going to be a trailblazer in our community.
Dr. Gregory, you said so much, and there's a couple of points that you made that I want to pick up on. You mentioned new facilities, and I don't want us to miss the opportunity to say something about the the new College of Business building. We'll say more later, but
Right.
if anybody traveling up and down West North Avenue, you see that there's construction happening on the corner of Warwick and North Avenue. That is the new College of Business building that's going up. That is monumental. I've been at Coppin for 25 years, and that's monumental for us to have a dedicated business school building. All of the beautiful campus that we have, the physical education complex, science and technology building, new dormitories, cafeteria, physical education complex. The campus is unparalleled. Programs that you mentioned, all of those are transformational in terms of the workforce demand of the future. Here's another piece that I would like to put out. Coppin's role, and I know in 2015, the Brookings Institution did a study and Coppin was identified as a top school in the state of Maryland in terms of value-added education. That means that we were 1 or 2 in the state, in the top 1 or 2 in terms of meeting students where they are, taking them where they need to be. The other piece is trust collateral in the community. As an institution, we have a lot of trust collateral because we did produce educators. Educators go into the system, they teach people, they grow up, they love where the teachers talk about their alma mater. Everybody's learned from a Coppin trained teacher. So we're in the community. What those programs you mentioned, can you say a little bit about the value that they will add? How are those programs adding value that the community will benefit from?
Absolutely. Well, the college, I'll speak to the College of Business first, for example.
Yes, please.
And you're right, that building is phenomenal. It's coming up and you cannot help but pause when you drive past to see where we're headed. And it's so critical for us because of its location. That building, as you mentioned, Dr. Williams, is located right on North Avenue. It opens right into the business community. We could not have chosen a better site. It opens into this community with the local residents and the local businesses. On the lower level of that building, we have 3 pillars to serve the community. And I'm excited about these pillars because we've always at Coppin worked with our community, but now we have dedicated space. And Dr. Williams, if I may please, you referenced the building a little bit earlier. I want to just take a second to just kind of roll it out to show how this impacts the community. On that lower level of the building, right on North Avenue, there's even an entrance from the North Avenue side into the building. Nice. And that's how important our community is to us. It's a gateway right into the building. And what is inside that building is awesome. We have 3 pillars in terms of serving our community. One pillar will be housing the Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship. Dr. Williams is our director, and I know he's going to, throughout the series, share more information about it. But what does that mean for us? We now have the facilities, not only the facilities, but we've developed the programming piece. So we have the Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship with a well-developed strategic plan and programming to do what? To serve our community. Inside, you know, I want to talk about it all the time, but inside we have a production lab, we have spaces for incubated businesses, we'll have workshops, trainings, seminars, we'll have the business community inside that building. We will also go out into the community, but we now have a welcoming space. It's not just serving the community, but it's preparing the next group of entrepreneurs. So our students will have an opportunity for service learning, but for working in that center, for getting into the community and building that bridge, that relationship. A second component of that is the wealth gap piece. The Financial Education Center, where we would do literacy training, the volunteer income tax services, a number of workshops, seminar sessions where we will invite the community in, but we'll also go out into the community. And then the third component is our partners in education. We have to do that. That's who we are. We are educators. So partners in education means that we're going to be working with the local schools, with the Carver High or the Frederick Douglass, the schools right in our community. We're going to have them in. We're going to partner with them. So the schools in our community, as well as the community colleges, will be an integral part of helping us to build this community piece to serve our community and beyond. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Senator,
Dr.
all of
Gregory.
this great stuff, all of this great stuff is happening in your district.
Yeah, I know, Dr. Williams, I'm just getting excited hearing Dr. Gregory talk about this. I mean, even down to the detail of the intentionality about having an entrance to the school on North Avenue is just phenomenal vision, right? A lot of times throughout the history of higher education, a lot of institutions want to build these islands in the middle of the community that are detached away from what's going on. Coppin, I see and hear the passion in Dr. Gregory's speaking, in that they're very intentional about being an integral part of the community in which they serve. And even as it relates to business, one of the things that I've really focused on in my legislative agenda is really about how do we build, wealth in our community. And there's two things that I've focused on is really through home ownership. The other is through supporting entrepreneurs and businesses. And I think with, the front doorstep of the business school being right there on the corner of North and Warwick, and I just smile every time I ride past that intersection. It's amazing the potential that it will provide to so many of the institutions that are there, and then inspire other institutions that are yet unborn and the mind that rest in the minds of the students that walk the campus of Coppin State University. And so, no, thank you so much. I'm really, really excited about that opportunity and seeing how we could leverage other partnerships and opportunities there. That is just phenomenal. One of the things that we were able to do in this past legislative session was look at how do we provide a link amongst all of the communities along West North Avenue. If you look up and down West North Avenue, there's probably more than a dozen different community organizations, each of which have their own individual plans or ideas about what they would like to see along West North Avenue. But there's no cohesion amongst, as far as vision as you go through West North Avenue. In some places along North Avenue, you see things happening, but then other places you could see the disinvestment that's taking place. And so we formed this West North Avenue Development Authority, which I'm very happy to know that Coppin State University and its leadership will head it up along with Maryland Institute of College Arts. We have stakeholders from local and state government and housing and transportation. And we have a brand new business school that's about to come online that could help incubate and support technical assistance to those businesses there, and also attract new businesses we talked about. I wonder, Dr. Gregory, if you've given any thought about how the College of Business may help facilitate some of the efforts that are happening along the West North Avenue corridor.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I mentioned briefly about the building and what's on that lower level, on that entry level. That's what really it's all about. That's exactly what we're doing. Everything we're doing is deliberate in terms of supporting the community through our three pillars. So how will we do it? It's through the strategic planning that we put in place. We've developed our programs. It's not just move the brick and mortar for us moving into a building. It's about the programming piece that we've developed that would allow for the kind of collaboration we need. It's the programming piece, for example, I didn't mention earlier, but we just had a new program approved in data science. So the data analytics piece is critical. So what are we going to do? We're going to connect that academic program with the Entrepreneurship Center, with the wealth area, with the partners in education, because today it's the big data that's driving decisions. So we'll have information on our businesses in our community. Everything we're doing is really deliberate to support, first and foremost, student teaching and learning, the learning portion for students, but it's the community. And part of what our students are learning is not only the primary academic piece, but they are learning the service piece as well. And Coppin has always been big on service. We've always served our community, but now we're making it a part of our curriculum. We're making it a part of what we do, and our strategic plan is driving that. So I'm excited about it because I can see nothing but good coming out of this.
You know, Dr. Gregory,
Awesome.
you mentioned the data science program, and there is an opportunity because the demands, the workforce demands of the future are different, and they are evolving very quickly. And because we are in this information age, those who have command of the information produced by the data are going to be the ones that can make the changes necessary to meet the needs, whether they're workforce needs, whether economic, whether learning needs. So the business school, the College of Business, has a very vital role to play in that. You mentioned the connection with the K through 12 community. Are there some specific activities that we'll do to connect with those communities? You mentioned some of the local schools that are and the partners in education. What would you hope to see in terms of our connection with the K through 12 community?
Actually, we've learned and we've known for a long time that we have a responsibility and a role to play in educating not only the students at Coppin, but the students and kids in our community, the students in our community. So by reaching out to this and partnering with these schools, what is it going to mean? It's going to mean that they're going to see Coppin in their classrooms. They're going to see Coppin in some of their programs. They're going to learn about entrepreneurship. We're going to invite them to the campus. They'll participate in some of your workshops. We'll have summer institutes for students, for some of these students. See, one of the objectives of having this Partners in Education Center is to build that bond with the high school counselors, not just high school, but the school counselors, with the teaching faculty and business at these schools. We want to build that relationship, because we'll have them in our college. We will invite them in. We'll have summer institute. We'll make it so that it'll be pretty much seamless. You know, the students will know that Coppin is here, that the education may start at this elementary school, that it moves to middle school, high school, but they'll also know that Coppin is a part of their educational process. And you know, Dr. Williams, from conversations we've had earlier, a lot of students need that connection early on. Senior year junior, senior year, to recruit them to come to college, it's really late. It's not too late, but it's late. So we have to meet them where they are much earlier. That means elementary school, middle school, as well as high school. So we're looking at building these relationships. The principals, the assistant principals, the counselors, the head teachers or directors of their various programs, we have to have a relationship with them. The students have to come to campus. They don't need to wait until senior year when they do campus tours. They need to come to Coppin from the middle schools or the elementary schools. They need to see what we do, and they need to see themselves doing that. You know, they need to see people like us, and they need to see themselves when they look at us. And so I think it's critical that we build these strong relationships, because I think it's a win-win situation for all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm so happy to hear you say that. And I just have one or two other questions before we get ready to transition. And one of them has to do, we've talked about the community, and this one is, I think, a good one that you would be able to address. The changes that you've seen internally at Coppin over the 17 years that you've been there, because I think these things, based on what Senator Hayes was mentioning and your responses in terms of the climate that we are in now, politically, economically, academically, otherwise, the needs of the community, how the public sector can play a role, and how we can, as an anchor HBCU in the community. But how have we prepared ourselves for this moment? I mean, we didn't see the pandemic coming. I mean, that has accelerated everything.
Yes.
But what, it's changed. Even the fact that we're doing this webinar virtually is indicated that the pandemic has had an impact. So how have we prepared ourselves for this moment internally over the past 17 years?
I think we've done a number of things. Since we're an educational institution, one of the first things we've done is look at ourselves and what we have to offer. What kind of degree programs we're offering? What's relevant today? How we've done a lot in terms of enhancing the existing programs. We've done an incredible job at introducing new programs. We started, for example, with nursing, and it's a stellar nursing program. It always has been. But we've branched out. Now we have a College of Health Professionals. We still have nursing. It's a great program. But we have health information management, health science. So we're growing. We're growing to meet, and in the health profession, we can't produce professionals fast enough. Not only are we producing people to serve in the community, but we're serving the community through our health center and through a lot that we've been doing. You mentioned the pandemic with testing and providing support to our community as well as to our campus. In the College of Business, as well as in the other colleges, we see now that there is a change in the demand for education. There are still a number of people who want the traditional education, but we're offering so many new certificate programs. We're introducing more. We have some in the pipeline, but we're trying to reach those people in our community who don't want to sit in a classroom or don't want to come full time to earn a degree, but they want those certifications. So we're doing that to prepare. We're also introducing more online courses, and we just got a level of approval to put another degree program online. We're at the last stage of that, not fully approved, but at the last stage of getting our management information systems program put fully online. My colleagues in the other colleges are doing the same. They're preparing more online programs. We have now a new director for online learning. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to meet those potential clients who can't physically come to the campus every day and sit in a classroom. So all of our programming pieces have changed. Technology, we are cutting edge. We continue to do in-house training. Our faculty members and staff persons are on top of it. We value what we do. We don't fear use of technology. We're advancing. We look for ways to not only improve the technology and the curriculum, but we're looking for ways to improve our research. At another session, Dr. Williams, I hope that you'll have a session to talk about some of the research endeavors. It's far too much for me to go through at this point, but some exciting research is happening at Coppin, and those faculty members are out in the forefront. So we're out there in terms of our academic programs, our teaching and learning. We're out there with our research, and under the leadership of Dr. Jenkins, it's clear that we're going to take a giant step into our community and continue with our community service.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Dr. Williams, and I think maybe Dr. Gregory, I'm curious, with things kind of changing, I'm starting to see more and more young people have an interest in entrepreneurship, right? I've run into so many young people who aren't necessarily interested in working in the traditional form, but starting their own business. I hear stories here today, like I said, from the elders in the community about how our communities were proliferated with, Black-owned businesses, right? And so it's always that saying that, history kind of repeats itself over and over, but do you see more young people having an interest in starting their own business, being entrepreneurs that are being attracted to the school? What type of students or what interests are you seeing from students as it relates to like that entrepreneurial spirit? And I guess Dr. Williams also could jump in and share kind of like his experience as well.
Yeah, I'll say something, and it will I think, tee up an answer from Dr. Gregory from the college perspective. I'll speak as the director of the Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship. The Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship is an academic innovation center, like many others, under the auspices, under the direction of the College of Business. So we will have a significant footprint on the first floor of that new building that Dr. Gregory was talking about. But what I've seen over the years is that our students, and when I say our students, so those that come to Coppin, have a strong need to earn while they learn. The retention issues, the persistence issues are largely tied to their finances and dollars to pay for tuition, to buy books and whatever. So my advice to students, even in K through 12, is to earn as early as you possibly can. So we have them coming with that natural need and desire to start their businesses. Some of them call them side hustles, but the statistics tell us that 50% of the population, of the general population in the nation, had alternative streams of income in 2020. That's 50%. So our desire to earn while we learn is aligning with the trajectory of the entire nation. Everybody's starting a business of some kind, even if it is just to pay a car note or to go on vacation. We want all of our students that come to Coppin, regardless of your major, to come through the center, connect with the business school, because if you're a dance major, you may want to open up a dance studio. We can help you. Only 4% of Black startups ever make it out of startup. That's a horrible statistic. So we will engage our young people with their natural curiosity and ability in entrepreneurial pursuits. They are curious, they're talented, they're bright, so they can start businesses, they can have alternative streams of income. So we're just going to tap into what's already there. So with that caveat, I'll let Dr. Gregory speak up in terms of the College of Business, how we facilitate that.
Yeah, and just before I do that, and I agree with you, Dr. Williams, it's there already. We just need to nurture and support it. But I'd like to step back just a moment, just share with you what my experience was many years ago. In undergrad, we never used the word entrepreneurship. It was work hard, do well, and get a good job with corporate America. Get on at General Motors or Bethlehem Steel or whatever, right? So it was throughout our school years, just learning how to do well and try to get this good job in corporate America. Well, you and I know that's not where the growth is going forward. It's not corporate America where the real job opportunities are. And I'm glad that over the last maybe decade or so, more and more young people are looking at entrepreneurship, creating their own. And so it's a reality, but what really surprised me is that when we talk to a group of students, say in a classroom, if you ask them to raise their hands and how many of them are not only interested, but how many of them actually have businesses, it's overwhelming the number. Many of them are already a part of and engaged in entrepreneurship. And what Coppin can do now with this and what Dr. Williams just said, what we can do now is nurture and support and help them be successful. Help to get that number from, what did you say, Dr. Williams, 4%?
4%, only 4% make it out of startup.
We have to do better because entrepreneurship is not going away. The whole need for and the drive and the interest in entrepreneurship will not disappear. But we have to get that number from 4%. And it's places like Coppin and our entrepreneurship center, it's the trust that our students have and our community members have with our institution that I think we can be a key player in this space. And we talk about students a lot, but Dr. Williams, you know, a number of our staff people and faculty are also and administrators are also entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and their family members, and some of them come from a family where that's how their families survive, is through their own entrepreneurial efforts. So I just think all of this happening at this time puts Coppin in an incredible space, especially with what you're doing, Senator. The things that you're helping to support and facilitate this. It does not hurt that our president is also a lead here with this. So I can see with all of us working together, Dr. Williams, we're going to increase that number. It's not going to be 4%.
Oh,
We're
no.
going to be a part. We're going to be a part. We're going to be a part of that change. We're going to be trailblazers to help lead the change.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the things that I believe, see, the economy demanded the teachers that we were producing, but that market demand is not there. That was created because of so many African Americans moving from the South, them needing to educate their children. They were working at Bethlehem Steel in whatever industrial job they were able to get. But now the market is demanding something different. It's demanding entrepreneurs. We need to equip our entrepreneurs so that I'll use the term underrepresented ownership and even the Black ownership that disappeared over several decades can return, but this time return with sustainability and lessons learned. That's where we come in. But in this last few minutes, Dr. Gregory, can you tell us, how do we connect with the College of Business? That's the important one.
That's right.
That's pretty easy. Coppin just updated its website, and we are at coppin.edu on our website. There's a section there for the College of Business. You can also reach me in the main number for the College of Business at 410-951-3444. And soon to be a section on the website. And I didn't mention this earlier, but we've embarked upon a naming campaign, a fundraising campaign for the College of Business. So we hope to put something out real soon on that, because there will be opportunities to name some of the space in this new building and to contribute to Coppin, and the funds to be used for what? For student scholarships, for programming, and to support the education and the outreach components of our college. So I hope that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Y'all, thank you. And before Senator Hayes and I wrap up, I want to thank you on behalf, and it's for being a part of this historic moment. This is the inaugural webinar, Westside on the Rise, and we have had the Dean of the College of Business of Coppin State University, where all of this is happening in Senator Hayes' district, in the 40th district. So we thank you, and we look forward to great things from the Coppin State University College of Business.
Thank you for having me, and stay tuned because there is more to come, okay?
Thank you. We'll have to have you back as things progress, Dr.
I'll give you an
Gregory.
update later, okay?
Indeed, indeed.
Thank you.
For sure.
Senator, what do you think?
Man, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you're dead on, Dr. Williams. I'm so glad that you had the vision to make sure that we heard from Dr. Gregory. She is truly, truly amazing, and has seen the entire growth of not only the university, but the changes that have happened in the small C community, but also the big C community, right? She's really seen that, and have added, have given her experiences to that growth. And so this is exciting. I'm so honored to start this journey with you in our inaugural Westside on the Rise, because what the Westside is on the rise, right?
Absolutely.
There are big things to come, and hopefully in some of our future segments, we will highlight some of those great things that are in the works, that are coming, and invite others to join in on the transformation that's happening. There's not many communities in Baltimore City, period, that can highlight that they have every institution of education available to them right in the same neighborhood, as well as an indoor retail facility and Mondawmin just across the way. And so we have a lot, a lot of times when you hear on mainstream media about West Baltimore or some of our communities, you hear a lot of the negative stuff. What we hope to do, and our mission here, is to highlight some of the great things that's happening in West Baltimore, some of the great institutions from places like Drew Hill Park, which I didn't realize was larger than Central Park, and making that like the 21st century urban green space that it could possibly be. Coppin State University, Baltimore City Community College, Frederick Douglass High School, that's educated so many African-American students here in the city of Baltimore. So hopefully in this series, we will bring to light all of the things that will make the Westside rise. And as a part of this webinar and this webinar series, we'll be able to document some of that rise just as it's happening here in West Baltimore. And so I just want to, again, thank you for agreeing to embark upon this journey with me. And I look forward to the best is yet to come as we have many, many more exciting new guests that will join us in this endeavor.
Oh yeah, and I echo everything that you have said. We really appreciate your leadership and what you mentioned, and what I want our listening audience, viewing audience to really grasp is that Coppin has 121 years of history and experience at doing this. I agree with the Brookings Institution that in terms of value-added education, we have more history, more experience, and do it better than a lot of other institutions. And you'll learn more about my history over the course of these webinars. And I say that having been exposed to the educational institution. I've been in higher ed for 35 plus years. So I know the value of the institution. Just before we close, I want to make people aware of some of the upcoming events on Coppin's campus related to entrepreneurship and connecting with the community. On the 18th of September, we are partnering with Times Services Community Incorporated, the philanthropic arm of the Baltimore Times, and Made in Baltimore, to bring the Makers Marketplace to Coppin. That's a Saturday. That's a day-long event. This is an opportunity for the community to come onto Coppin's campus. It's being held in the TAWS building, right on the main quad. So you'll be seeing information about that. That's September
What's that date again?
September the 18th.
September the 18th. At what time?
Yeah. It's from, I'll have to confirm this, but I think it's from like 11 to 5. Yeah, we'll be there. Yes. Fantastic. And then the Minority Innovation Week that's coming up on October the 2nd. That's another date where you'll see the Coppin State University College of Business Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship in particular out and about. Global Entrepreneurship Week that's coming up beginning November the 8th. That whole week we'll have activities. So there'll be a lot going on the campus. Our students are coming back face-to-face this time. So we have a student organization called Coppin Entrepreneurship Organization for Students. The CEOs is the acronym. They'll be very active. We have an alumni entrepreneurship advisory board. So there's a lot happening. We want the community to come in. I just wanted to put some of those things out there, and we can highlight these kinds of opportunities over the course of these several months. Every Wednesday, every third Wednesday, you will get one of these informational sessions about how the Westside is on the rise.
Awesome. And I would be remiss, Dr. Williams, that I didn't mention one thing. We spoke earlier a little bit about the West North Avenue Development Authority on September the 28th at, I think, around 2:30 on Coppin State University campus. We will be having our first kickoff event for the West North Avenue Development Authority. The legislation actually goes into effect on October the 1st. And so be on the lookout. If, for those of you who want to reach out to our office and find out about different things coming up, including these webinars that happen every third Wednesday. You could find out updated information on our website at www.antoniohayes.com. You can, and even on that website, you could sign up for various announcements or things that as they're coming along. We try to send out at least once a month a litany of different upcoming events, so you could be aware of. To contact our office, you could always call 410-841-3656. And so we will continue to update you all as things progress. And we look forward to next month when we're able to share a new segment of our Westside on the Rise webinar. So thank you all again so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. See you next time, Senator.